Every few centuries, a country seems so unstoppable that it forgets how fragile it really is. Then the same story plays out again. Wealth piles at the top, trust breaks at the bottom, and the whole thing begins to tilt under its own weight. And now, if you look closely today, the United States is experiencing exactly that. Phase 1. Public turns away. Collapse never starts with explosions or riots. It starts with people quietly checking out, losing faith that anyone in charge cares about them. In France, the nobles taxed the poor until they starved. In Russia, the Tsar looked down from palaces while workers froze. In Cuba, a revolution was sparked by the glaring inequality and repression under the Batista regime. In America, it's not feudal lords. It's corporations and policymakers who talk about progress, while ordinary families juggle rent, medical bills, and student debt. Right now, most Americans feel the game is rigged. They work harder but fall further behind. They vote, but nothing changes. That's emotional bankruptcy. When hope collapses, participation collapses soon after. And that's when democracy starts running on fumes. You can already see that withdrawal everywhere. Record levels of voter apathy, declining trust in media, and communities drifting further into online bubbles. When people stop believing their voices matter, someone else always steps in to speak for them. We've hit that point. Farmers, students, veterans, tech workers, they're not on the same page politically, but they share one emotion: betrayal. And when betrayal spreads faster than hope, the mood turns combustible. That's the inflection point, the shift from complaining about power to challenging it. And once a population crosses that line, it doesn't go back. That's why governments throughout history panic during this phase. They sense the temperature rising but can't turn it down. Phase 2. Two realities, one country. Here's where the ground splits. Facts stop being shared. Truth becomes tribal. One half of the nation sees corruption, the other half sees conspiracy. Neither can be entirely right, but both believe they are. That's how the social contract tears. You can watch it unfold in real time. Every event, an election, a protest, a court ruling, gets two versions within hours. The algorithm feeds what you already believe, locking each side inside its own echo chamber. And once people feel morally superior to their opponents, democracy starts looking like war by other means. America is already halfway there. The truth is, no external enemy could do to the US what Americans are currently doing to themselves. Phase 3. Financial unraveling. Revolutions always get their spark from the economy. Not from ideology, not from speeches, from empty wallets. France had bread riots. Germany had inflation so wild that cash was cheaper than kindling. America's version looks quieter. Record debt, corporate layoffs, and inflation that official numbers appear to downplay, while grocery aisles tell another story. The math doesn't lie. With $35 trillion in federal debt and interest payments larger than military spending, the US is burning through money faster than it can be created. Foreign buyers are slowly stepping back from US bonds. The dollar's grip on global trade, which was once unshakable, is slipping. Meanwhile, ordinary Americans can't afford homes in their own towns. When people realize the American dream is just a brand now rather than a promise, cynicism sets in. And when hope turns to cynicism, systems rot. Every empire has tried to spend its way out of collapse. None has succeeded. Phase 4. Savior figure. Every failing democracy eventually looks for a shortcut. A leader who says, "Enough talk, I'll fix it." They always start as symbols of clarity. They always end as symbols of control. Whether it's Napoleon, Lenin, or someone modern, the script is identical. Restore pride, crush opposition, rebuild order. But order always comes with a price tag: freedom. The US isn't immune to that temptation. After years of outrage and gridlock, voters are desperate for results, not process. Whoever promises strength, even at the expense of democracy, will sound like a relief. Both political camps already have their versions of the savior. The only difference is what color tie he wears. The danger isn't one man taking power. It's a weary public that wants him to. Once citizens start trading liberty for peace of mind, the nation that believed it could never fall begins to tilt precisely towards that. Phase 5. Cleansing Phase. This is the moment every revolution starts eating its own. At first, it's subtle. Censorship masks as safety, blacklists disguised as accountability. Then it grows. Dissenters vanish from the conversation. Algorithms filter out the wrong ideas, and citizens become informants without realizing it. You don't need gulags in the digital age. You just need to make people scared to speak. The US is already experimenting with this through cancel culture, surveillance justified by security, and information control by both government and corporations. Once speech becomes a privilege instead of a right, the purge has begun. It just doesn't look like one yet. History proves it every time. Revolutions start by chasing corruption and end by punishing disagreement. The moment questioning power feels dangerous, collapse isn't coming. It's here. Phase 6. Slow fade. Societies don't explode, they dissolve. Citizens still go to work, cities still function, but ambition dies. Innovation slows, birth rates fall. People stop dreaming about the future and start reminiscing about the past. Sound familiar? The US is still powerful on paper, but spiritually exhausted. It's the same stage every empire reaches before losing its edge, a kind of national burnout. And that's when the outside world starts adjusting. Allies hedge, enemies test boundaries, respect turns to tolerance. If this continues, the shift won't be loud. It'll be quiet, but final. The world won't need to defeat America. It'll just move on without it. In 2026, America's biggest threat won't be war or inflation. It will be paralysis. The 2026 midterms are shaping up to be the most polarized in modern history, and whichever party wins, half the country won't accept the result. Economists are already warning that the US could enter a shallow recession that same year, triggered by debt pressure, global trade shifts, and a fading dollar. At the same time, AI will be rewriting the labor market faster than policy can adapt. Millions of jobs will change or disappear, forcing workers to reinvent themselves in real time. That mix of economic strain and social tension could push 2026 into becoming a defining year. We've watched the same cycle play out for centuries. The timeline shifts, but the psychology never does. The United States still has one thing those older empires didn't: awareness. We can see the warning lights blinking. The data is public, the debates are global. Yet awareness without courage means nothing. Because the last stage of every empire isn't war or revolution, it's denial. Once a nation starts laughing at the idea that it could collapse, it's already halfway there. What do you think? Is there still time for America to pull back from the edge, or are we drifting toward a modern revolution? Let us know in the comments below, and make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel. We've included sources for several of the facts mentioned. Find them in the description. Thanks for watching.